Thinking.
All right.
Choo choo. Welcome into A Toast of Film. It is list making season. I had my buddy Corey on. We got, me and Trey's list coming. But before then, we got the man, the myth, the legend himself, Jerffy Choo Choo.
Choo choo
is in the house. And he has a couple of worst ofs because he's a nice guy,
I don't like seeing these bad movies.
He does.
I only see good movies.
I seek them
or
out.
Non-terrible movies.
I seek out the bad of the bad.
Yes, I don't know what's wrong with you.
But he has, a couple of bads, then some honorable mentions, and I have a great eight films that we're toying with getting into my honorable mention that I'll bring up. And then we're ending the pod with Jeff's definitive top 10 for 2024. Now, one thing before we get into your stuff. So Jerf does a special rule that I have done in the past, if I'm not mistaken, where anything is up for grabs if you watched it in 2024.
As a first-time viewer, yes.
So he may have some things on here that are not 2024 films. However,
so next year on my top list, I might watch The Godfather series. I haven't watched those yet.
There you go.
And so my top 3 next year might be Godfather 1, 2, and 3.
Hey, there you go. And
even though they're old.
I'm repping the Falcons because the entire season comes down to the Washington game tonight. Wish us luck. But, Jeff, why don't you start out with what you consider the 3 worst films you've seen this year?
Gladly, Eddie. So, starting at the bottom,
we
have Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Oof.
It was a movie that I also watched while I was also, quote-unquote, working. And it was a movie that I knew was going to be bad, and I do think it was still kind of fun in a little bit of a way, but it was just bad. I don't think the pacing was there, and the CG I think was okay. The CG on these big budget movies can always be better.
Oh yeah,
and so I think it was just you know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean.
And so that's the worst of the worst. Second of the worst of the worst, we have Argyle.
Oh, I agree with you on that. Argyle was rough.
I kind of like the movie in like the beginning, up to the ending. I liked the movie.
I like the trailer.
The trailer was awesome. But at the ending, when they're doing the escaping and they do all the big colorful scenes of smoke, that whole CG fiasco was
ice skating.
Yes. It was ridiculous, but like the smoke effects I think were bad, and that scene lasted way too long.
Yes.
They could have either shortened it by a few minutes or just probably not done something totally ridiculous, even though that's what it's supposed to be. It's a ridiculous kind of movie. But like I was fine with the movie up until that part. Like it's obviously not supposed to be an Oscar winner type of movie.
Yeah.
But like, I was just fine with the movie, but up until that point I was like, then it just once they did that scene, I got taken completely out of the movie.
Understandable.
It was like, all right, we got this. Oh, it's still going on. Okay. So that is the second worst of the worst.
Okay.
And the third worst of the worst is Venom.
Oh, Venom 3, The Last Stand.
I still like the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a fun movie. And I do like that scene in Vegas when they're dancing with Miss Chen. It's so ridiculously stupid. It's kind of weird how like that the smoke scene in Argyle is ridiculously and stupid, just like the dance scene in Venom 3. But the Venom 3 scene I thought was it was more charming. It's just not hard not to like Tom Hardy, but overall the movie was bad. It was just a fun bad movie. And so, and I think we've all discussed, I think everybody knows the problems with Sony's Marvel Universe. I don't think we need to go in deep dive into that long-winded rabbit hole. So that is my third worst of the worst movie.
Okay, so now we're into your honorable mentions.
That is correct.
So start from 10 and work your way to 1.
All right. I will go. Number 10 is Heretic.
Okay.
Trey, I saw the clip that you posted, Eddie, and it was hilarious. And I got to thinking a little bit. There are a couple other ones that I wanted to include in my honorable number 20. There are a couple of anime films I saw that I thought were really good. But I think Heretic really, it was just a really good, solid movie.
Yeah.
And Hugh Grant was
top notch,
beyond creepy in this movie. I feel like him being as creepy as he was and as good creepy as he was, I feel like he deserved to be in my honorable mention. And so that is my number 10, or my entire list, number 20. Number 19 is a movie that we recently saw, Eddie, and I want to put in Nosferatu.
Wow, okay.
Even though the rating may not be good, I do still think it was a really good movie. Regardless of its flaws and pacing, I think I never saw the original one, obviously, because it's such an old movie, and I tend to wait to see those. But I do think it was really good, regardless of the pacing issues. I thought that the scenery and the environment in the castle was probably my favorite part of the movie overall, because they just made it so creepy, and Bill Skarsgård's voice so loud and deep and creepy,
very guttural.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like I had to give it their performances on to put it on the list.
Right on.
So number 18, number 8, I have Hitman.
Oh, the Glenn Powell movie. Yeah. That movie is funny.
It was, and it was really funny. And when he was doing the little montage of him doing through the clients and going to different costumes, that was hilarious to me. You know, Glenn Powell or whoever was doing the costumes for that movie were just having a grand old time designing those costumes, because they were just utterly ridiculous. And it was just like a fun action campy movie. Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of the Fall Guy a little bit. Not as actiony, obviously, but the environment, the atmosphere was the
same. Sense of joy.
Exactly. So number 7 on my honorable mention, I did have this in my top 10 originally, but I had to do some reordering because it's a good movie and it's a lot of fun movie, but it's an animated movie. It's Sonic 1. When I was binge watching
Sonic 1.
Yeah, when I was binge watching the Sonic series for in preparation for Sonic 3, I watched, as I said before, I watched Sonic 1 and 2 while I was working. And I just thought, it was a good movie. And I think James Marsden is really charming as well. It's really
I think he has a lot of fun with it.
I like all the movies he's in pretty much. And I'm just so glad that they fixed the CGI, because I probably wouldn't have seen it otherwise.
Oh, you mean the teeth?
Yeah, it would have just been rough to stare at that rat instead of a hedgehog for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So it was just a fun, good movie, and I thought it was a great way to introduce a character and start off the trilogy.
I agree.
So number 6, I have Maxine.
Oh, shoot.
So that movie was really good. The environment, everything was just really good. And it's been a while since I've seen it. It came out quite a while ago. But I thought, what's her name? The lady who plays the
Mia Goth.
Mia Goth. She killed it as well as all the detectives as well. It's just a really good sort of like old school style movie.
When she pulls Kevin Bacon out of his car and just starts beating him in the street while he's cursing her. Hysterical.
Exactly. And so that's my number 6. And so for number 5, I have A Quiet Place Day One.
Oh.
And I thought this movie was really good. You can argue that it could maybe be in the top 10. But
it was good enough for that.
I think so too. But I think I had some issues with the cat. I think that was a big issue I think I had.
The cat. Never forget.
I think I had some issues with that. And the one thing I cannot say enough about the movie was the soundtrack and the sound effects of the movie when they were stampeding. The sound design for that movie was top notch.
They make you feel these things are so big.
They really do.
Yeah.
And so that is my number 5.
Right on.
And so for my number 4, I actually forgot that I forgot to put this on my list.
Okay.
We were at our Squamous or wherever not too long ago, and you mentioned, Eddie, Twisters.
Yeah.
And I was like, I saw that movie. And then I was like, I don't think I have it on my Letterboxd list. Man. And how can I forget a movie that I got a magnet for my fridge? So I have that as my number 4 honorable mention.
Twisters is a fun movie, man.
It really is.
Glenn Powell, yet again on your list.
Dude's a maniac right now.
Dude, he's just
nothing but bangers right now.
Yeah.
And what was the other the girl's name? I forget her name, but she's been in a lot of stuff.
Daisy something.
Yeah, you're close.
I'm oh my god, I'm blanking on it because she was also in Flesh. She's a very good actress, though.
Yes. I thought she was really good. And
Daisy
they make you feel the intensity of the movie really well. And I thought that was really good. I really like the ending.
Daisy Edgar Jones.
Yes. And I really like the end of that where she overcame her trauma of like witnessing all of her friends die.
Yeah.
And so
something you definitely it's understandable if it takes some time.
Yeah, so I thought they did that really well. And it was just a fun movie, really intense.
Very fun.
My number 3 honorable mention is Alien Romulus.
In the honorable mention?
Yeah.
What's your problem?
You could probably make a case for it for the top 10. I have so many good movies that I like better than that, Eddie.
Consider yourself judged.
If I had to put it in the top 10, it would be number 10. But I saw a bunch of other movies recently or not recently, but yeah, look at that. Eddie's a big Alien fan.
I don't know if you can see this. My freaking green tea. There you go.
But
got the popcorn bucket.
I thought that was really good. And they went back to like the classic like horror part of Alien, and yeah, exactly. And it was just so good. And only downside is that one of the characters was just too British. I couldn't understand a single word he said. That's the only downside of the entire movie. And we might see more from Alien later. So my number 2 honorable mention is a movie that I just saw the other day with my folks. Is Juror Number 2.
Oh shoot, the Nicholas Hoult movie on HBO.
Yes, that is correct.
I haven't even seen that yet.
It's really good.
That's what I've heard.
They ended on a cliffhanger, which I'm kind of iffy about.
You heard it here first.
But the ending is still very satisfying. It was a great sort of moral dilemma. I won't say what it is, obviously, for spoilers, since I think it's fairly recent release.
It's very recent because it was a limited theater run, so limited we didn't even get it in Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know it's on Max, and I've been wanting to watch it, but I just haven't got around to.
It's really good. I almost didn't recognize what's the
Nicholas Hoult.
No, I never can say, but the DA. I forget her name. She was in the Knives Out movies. I forget her name. She was also in the
Ana de Armas.
No, I'll tell you about it later.
Okay, Toni Collette.
Yeah, her. She was really good, and
she's always so good.
Although I do have it was a good movie, but with the way I don't really agree with the verdict that they got in the trial of the movie.
Shoot.
I sort of think it should have been a mistrial or sort of like a just drop the charges at all. But regardless of that fact, it was still a well-acted movie. Nicholas Hoult was really good.
That's what I've heard.
Once he realized his little moral dilemma he was in, he was panicky, and that panicky was really well put together and really well done. And so on number 1 honorable mention,
just missing your top list of the year.
Yes.
Okay. What is it?
The Holdovers.
The Holdovers.
Yes.
All right. Paul Giamatti,
and I think I forget the other. I think he's the only star in the movie. I think. I recognize some of the other kid actors in the movie.
Yeah, the other people in the movie they've been in various things, but Paul Giamatti's definitely the person. Dude, he looks so crazy in that movie. How he'd be like doing like the lazy eye stare at folks.
Yeah, but it was really good.
Very good.
Kids get trapped overnight at a boarding school, and he sort of takes under his wing one of the kids, and sort of, because he's got essentially no family, and the other kids sort of end up leaving during the movie, but he sort of takes him under the wing, and it was a really good sort of like adoptive father figure, sort of like a father figure adjacent type of movie. It was really good, really well acted. A lot of the other people in the movie, the chef I thought was really funny in the movie. She was like your sassy little lady who was always making like wisecracks at the other folks. So that is my number one honorable mention, just missing the top 10.
Okay, well, before we get into your top 10, if it may please the court, juror number 2. So we have our recording coming out for me and Trey's top 10 with our honorable mentions. But I thought, since I got Jerf here, I have a great 8, if you will. 8 movies that for a while were either in my top 13, in my honorable mention, and then as I saw more and more, they, slowly fell out. But I still think they're worth your time. So for your consideration, and number 8's actually a tie because they're almost the exact same movie. So we have The First Omen and Immaculate. Both films about a nun who gets like an immaculate, she gets a baby. You got Sydney Sweeney in Immaculate. You got Nell Tiger Free in The First Omen. Both of them put so much into these roles. Sydney Sweeney, she's breaking out from her normal thing we see her in, like your Euphoria, your Anyone But You, Madam Web. And then you got Nell Tiger Free, who gives this like very haunting performance where, she's like slowly going into madness. The screaming and crying and seeing things. And both ladies killed it. If you haven't seen them, please check them out. Immaculate and First Omen. But number 7, movie that we watched together, Red One. Red One is just a fun Christmas movie. I highly suggest everyone check it out. J.K. Simmons, he's not in it much, but he's having a blast. The Rock gets to do some cool stuff. Krampus.
Yeah, I forgot to add that to us, honestly, but I didn't see the whole movie. I started watching it with you guys about maybe quarter way through. Fun fact, J.K. Simmons is also in juror number 2.
There you go. J.K.
For
Simmons.
a small part, and he was really good in it.
He's making lists. He's checking them twice.
That's right.
Number 6, We Live in Time. Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield.
Oh, yeah, the romance movie.
The romance movie. It's very good. It plays around with time a lot, where you're jumping from, forward, backwards, all over the place. But both of them put a lot into those roles, and they're both just great, actors. So it's very good movie to check out. Then we have Robot Dreams. This was an Oscar nominee.
Never heard of it.
You wouldn't, because it is a animated film with no dialogue.
Oh, okay.
So it's a world where everybody's animals, and this dog named Dog, shocker, right?
Yeah, very creative.
He orders a robot, which he names Robot, and he teaches this robot about life, and then the robot gets left at the beach because he like freezes up from his joints getting salt water on him. And then while the robot's there, the dog can't get there because they've shut down the beach. So Robot has these like very vivid dreams. The animation is so good, and it may not have dialogue, but it does so much with the performances. Yeah. Robot Dreams.
Not the kind of animation style I was expecting.
I know, but fantastic movie. Like I said, no dialogue, but a lot of good story going on. Staying in the animation, Transformers 1. When I saw this trailer, I thought this movie was going to be a trash of all trash.
Is that the one with all the...
like Chris Hemsworth, all that?
Really?
Let me tell you, Jeff, I'm not going crazy when I say this. That could be the most fun movie you'll watch this year. From start to finish, they are just having a great time. The voice casting is really good. and it's just exciting. Like, there's so many things happening. There's a big race scene with the Autobots. It's a blast. If you haven't watched, especially if you have kids, please watch it with them. You're gonna have a blast.
It looked fun, kind of fun to me if you were into the Transformers, and it also looked very kid. It also looked very
like kid friendly.
Yeah, kid friendly.
It is. Although there's a running gag where Bumblebee, he's like, I'm thinking about changing my name to Badassatron. And he says that a bunch of times. All right, so top 3 of my grade 8. Number 3, My Old Ass.
Eddie, you're only 35.
Yeah, I know. And
you're not old, Eddie.
I know. But this girl, it's her birthday. She's out with her friends. She gets high on mushrooms. And somehow she's able to communicate with her 40-year-old self, who's played by Aubrey Plaza.
Oh, yeah. I think I've heard of this one.
This movie, I did not expect to be as great as it was. And also, I didn't expect it to have the heart it did. But by the end of it, My Old Ass.
Oh.
By the end of it, you are like, you're choking up a little. You got a little, misty-eyed tears. It ends with such a wonderful, sweet thing. And it's a coming-of-age story like we haven't seen, where she's able to communicate with, her 40-year-old self, who she calls, refers to as old. Number 2, this was a Tubi original, Jeff. Tubi.
Okay.
The streaming provider of the people. It's called Lowlifes. All I'll tell you is it is a family that is on a road trip, and they're in backwoods like Alabama.
Okay.
And
not somewhere you want to be.
Things happen after they encounter some hillbillies. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
I'll say this. After 5 minutes, you're either in or out.
Okay.
No ifs, ands, or buts. You watch that first 5 minutes, you decide whether this is something you're wanting to go forward with or not. But it's a fantastic movie. Trey agrees. But number 1, grade 8, and this one hurt me more than anything to not put in my honorable mention list, was Abigail. Abigail was such a fun movie. The young lady who was the vampire gave such a great performance. You also had Dan Stevens, Melissa Barrera, Giancarlo Esposito, just top tier cast. Fun movie. Highly suggest check it out. Abigail. But Jeff, if you would be so kind to give your top 10 from 10 to 1.
Gladly, Eddie. Number 10 for my best of the year is X.
Oh, shoot.
That was when I made the binge just to watch Maxine, because I didn't want to see X. I think all the actors, I knew Brittany Snow, and I knew who else is in the movie. I'm blanking on names right now. But all the actors in that movie I knew, and I know they're all great actors. And everyone was raving about X.
Yeah.
Like, you think, they're going to go shoot a porno in this farm. You think it's going to be kind of dumb or stupid, and it's campy and it's fun.
Yeah,
it's really fun, and it's also pretty scary as well.
Yeah, so let me tell y'all real quick, Jeff, if I can. So this dude, let me tell y'all, Jeff is one of the best, most loyal folks you'll ever meet, because not once but twice did when he was coming to town, because he lives in Florida.
Yeah, I'm a Florida man now.
He's a Florida man. We don't hold that against him.
Thank you.
But not once but twice this year, when he was coming to town, I said, Jeff, I need you to watch the first 2 movies of this trilogy so you can go see the 3rd movie with me. Because when you came to town, we watched Maxine, and you watched X and Pearl.
I didn't watch Pearl.
Okay, but you did watch X.
Yes, you told me Pearl. It was the prequel to the Lady in X.
Okay. So you watched X, though, and then you watched the Sonic movies.
Yes.
So this guy, a trooper. Sorry, just had to throw that in there.
Yes, I thought X was a really good sort of old school kind of horror film. Number 9, I hate to put it this low, but Deadpool and Wolverine.
Okay, that's what we want to hear.
Like, how can you not love this movie? You got the fans asked for it.
Yeah.
And Ryan Reynolds delivered. Hugh Jackman was like, all right, fine. I don't know how much it was the bag of money they gave him. I'm sure it was pretty heavy, but they knocked it out of the park.
It's because he has risen, baby girl.
And they knocked it out of the park. All the cameos were fun. You couldn't understand a word Channing Tatum said as Gambit, and I love the bits and the banter when they meet each other. It was just such a fun movie, and the fans got what they asked for.
Yeah, I feel like we did.
Number 8 is Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
Okay,
I think Deadpool Wolverine goes down a notch because it's a comedy.
Yeah.
And Furiosa Mad Max Saga was just nonstop thrill ride from beginning to end. And Anya Taylor-Joy killed it with her limited amount of lines.
Yeah.
And Chris Hemsworth playing Mad Joe was not something I thought would be good because he's just such typecast now as the Thor character. And it's nice to see him branching out.
Just this, just terrible Australian guy.
Exactly. And he didn't have to put on an accent either.
No, he didn't. He was like, oh, I get to actually talk? Word?
Yeah. So that was my number 8.
Nice.
Number 7, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Very nice.
Dude, just a bunch of men kicking butt, taking names, killing Nazis.
Bunch of bros just doing bro things.
Exactly. Maybe now I'll start watching movies about killing Nazis. Maybe now I'll watch Inglourious Bastards.
There you go.
But just everybody knocked out of the park. Just all the characters that they had were just spot on. I thought for who played them. It was just a fun. Henry Cavill. I'm blanking on the.
I'm blanking on him too. The big guy.
Yeah, who plays Reacher.
Yeah, who had the glasses. Yeah, that dude was funny.
Yeah. So that was my number 7. Just
very nice.
What could go wrong with killing Nazis? So number 6, The Beekeeper.
That was in my honorable mention, Jeff.
I thought this movie was
so good.
Dumbest movie alive when I heard the premise of Jason Statham playing a beekeeper, of all things to be playing. Not like a beekeeper. And I thought, I'm not going to watch this. It's about a beekeeper. And then I heard a lot of good things about it. And I was like, well, maybe I'll watch it. And then my neighbor Keith, who does nothing but sit on the front porch and drink and smoke all day because he's retired.
I mean, this is true. I've met Keith, and he was doing that very thing every time I've met him.
He told me, one movie you need to watch is The Beekeeper.
The bee puns, man.
And I was like, okay. Maybe I'll finally watch this movie, and it did not disappoint.
Yeah.
Just once the action was going,
it starts pretty quick, too.
It does start pretty quick. And just Jason Statham
doing what Jason Statham needs to.
Doing what he does. And it's just very surprising. I think a hit of the year.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you. It was in my honorable mention. It was almost in my top 13.
And my number 5, Eddie, which I think is your number 1 based on the clip I saw, is The Fall Guy.
Yes, sir.
Just Ryan Gosling being his charming self, Emily Blunt being her also charming self.
Dude.
And it could do no wrong. The movie was just pure fun, pure joy.
Pure fun, pure bliss. Good action, all
the action was stunts. Good, and you wouldn't think that on like a typical action movie, but I know they use a limited amount of CGI and special effects, if at all,
because they show you at the end like the actual stunt guys. I love movies about making movies, man.
The meta-ness of it all.
Yeah, they're just always so good, man.
Yeah, so that is my number 5, Ryan Gosling.
Very nice.
Being his charming self, because you can't not like Ryan Gosling. You can't not.
He's the best.
He's just one of those guys.
He's the best.
And my number 4 goes back to what Eddie mentioned earlier in The Great Escape. 1963 movie, The Great Escape. Nice. And I got that movie when we were in Charlotte. I think it was at one of the malls we went to. And I think that's from the Criterion Collection.
It was the strip mall. When we went to that Barnes & Noble and they had the Criterion set.
Right, that's right. And I think to myself, have I seen this movie or not? Like, I'm sure I've seen scenes of it, like with them digging the tunnels and whatnot. But I'm like, I don't think I've seen the movie from beginning to end. And it lives up to what it's been its reputation. It's such a good movie. The acting is incredible. Everybody knocks it out of the park, and it lives up to the hype.
Hell yeah.
And number 3, Eddie, from what I mentioned from our honorable earlier, we've got Aliens.
Very nice. Did we Hilton Head?
Yes.
Hilton Head.
Because I do not watch as many movies as Eddie.
True.
And so one of those movies that I haven't seen were Aliens and Alien. We watched Alien, I think, last year.
Yeah.
And you were like, Jeff, you haven't seen Aliens. You're going to sit your butt down right now. And we're going to put on Aliens. And I think I like Aliens better. I think
it's a big debate.
That's what you guys tell me. And I think I am on the side of Aliens being better,
which is fair,
than the original. I think the action really put it over the top for the first one for me. And Bill Pullman and his it's over, man. It's great.
No, Bill Paxton.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Bill Pullman's Independence Day.
That's right. I get my bills mixed up. There's so many of them.
It happens.
And so Aliens.
Very nice.
I think everybody who's seen the movie knows how great it is. And it's lived up to the hype.
You know, on Trey, little spoiler alert, on Trey's honorable mention, he had a movie we watched in Hilton Head. He had Arcadian.
Yeah, that was just outside of
my little weird.
That was just outside of my honorable mentions. It was like 22 somewhere around there. But yeah, so Aliens, just Ripley being the boss of everybody, no one listening to her. So Aliens is my number 3 movie of the year that I've seen.
Very nice.
Number 2 is The Iron Claw.
Buddy, I've never been more proud.
That movie was so good.
Yeah.
Zac Efron, I think he should. Was he nominated for that movie?
He was not.
That is a ripoff. He should have been nominated for the movie because you feel the emotion and the dread he experiences at the end of the movie when all of his brothers have died.
Yeah.
And he's the only one left. You can just feel the pain when he's talking. And I think he should have won an Oscar for that. I really do. Because he's
top-notch performances.
Top-notch. And it was just so good. And everybody was so good.
Y'all can't see my desk, but I'm a huge wrestling fan. And I have like wrestling stuff adorned all over my desk.
So that is my number 2 movie of the year.
So your number 1 movie of the year.
Can you guess what it is, Eddie?
Wait a minute. There's no shot. It's what I think it is.
What do you think it is, Eddie?
Is it Sonic 3?
No, it's Dune 2. What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I didn't know.
It's Dune 2. There's no doubt about it. Dune 2 was the best movie of the year, Eddie.
You're making Trey very proud.
I know I am, and I know I'm angering you but your opinions are sometimes misguided.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
The soundtrack, the action, the acting was all just top notch. Like the movie could do no wrong. It was just so well made, and I think they lived up. I think they did Frank Herbert justice in making the movie. I know a lot of people would give the original movie some flack a little bit, but I think this movie was just so good. Everything was just perfect about the movie. I don't think you can make a better adaptation of a hard to make sci-fi, because people have tried to make adaptation of that movie before. And
I know I watched the one from the 80s for the first time recently. That is quite the motion picture.
Yeah. Because I mean the visual effect, I've seen some of the effects that they used in the original one, and granted the technology wasn't what it is today. So they had to do with what they had, but
they had to do what they had.
Yes. Get out, Eddie. Get out.
You get out.
But such a great film. I don't know what you can't say anything bad about the movie. You honestly can't, Eddie. Even if it's not in your top 10 or all mentions or whatever.
I can say something.
Well, your things are going to be wrong.
The audacity. You know what? I'm Lisa Agaib. Shut up.
Just
you better hope I don't learn how to Benny Gesserit. I've been practicing.
Yeah, okay, sure.
I get the Benny Gesserit voice. It's going down, Jeff.
But Dune 2, it's great. I don't know what you can say. What else you can say about it? So, the acting, the action, the effects, just top notch. Chef's kiss.
So Jeff's top 10 that he watched. I have to add that asterisk to yours.
What do you mean that I watched?
That you watched for 2024.
Oh, yeah.
Just because they're not all 2024.
Oh, right.
Is X, Deadpool and Wolverine, Furiosa, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, The Beekeeper, The Fall Guy, The Gray Escape, Aliens, The Iron Claw, and Dune 2.
That is correct, Eddie.
Solid list, my guy. Well, guys, we hope you enjoy this little bonus with Jerffy
Choo Choo.
And we hope you are ready, because coming this Tuesday, we will have our best of, worst of. Trey has a meltdown for the second year in a row. It's glorious.
That clip was so funny. His face is like...
Yeah. Tune in to see what Jeff's talking about. Jeff has seen it live and in color, and
it's so funny.
His face just, he's like so excited, and then he's like that. And you can hear Spencer off camera where she's like, hell yeah. She's laughing so much. But let me tell you the ways to do it. Check us out on Instagram and TikTok, A Toast to Film, all one word. Check us out on Twitter at @film_toast. Or check us out on beautiful YouTube. Watch Trey's face drop when I make my #1 movie of the year, and it's not what he's expecting. Just search A Toast to Film podcast. I'll have the link to everything. But we just want to wish you a good year. We just want to wish you a good night and good viewing. Hell yeah, Jeffrey. Gosh darn it.